Hi, my name is Bob Dittmer, and welcome to Explorations in Public Relations. In this series of short video interviews, we explore the practice and profession of public relations. Our guest today is McKenze Rogers. McKenze is going to talk with us about amateur sports, public relations, and marketing. McKenze is a marketing coordinator with USA Track and Field, headquartered here in Indianapolis. McKenze, thanks for joining us today.
It's a delight to be here.
McKenze, I guess we ought to start first by trying to understand what a sports federation actually is.
USA Track and Field is a national governing body. So every Olympic sport has an organization like ourselves that run it as if it were a business. We put on the events, and we are responsible for driving the competitive excellence of track and field among youth athletes all the way up into masters, outside of the collegiate athletes, because that is monitored by the NCAA.
Okay, and that's the differentiation, is that if it's a collegiate operation like a college sports team, like a college track and field team, that falls under the purview of NCAA. All of the rest of the club activity and the individual activity falls under the purview of USA Track and Field.
Correct, and our main focus is to win medals at the Olympics.
And let's talk about that a little bit, because when the Olympics conduct their various events, it's not really the Olympics that conducts the events. It's really the international sports federations and thus the national sports federations that are not only conducting the events, but conducting the events under the rules that have been established by the federation, not by the Olympic Committee.
Correct, and if you think of an organizational flow chart, per se. There's the International Olympic Committee, the IOC, then the United States Olympic Committee, the USOC, and then all of the thousands of national governing bodies, including USA Track and Field, USA Diving, USA Synchronized Swimming, USA Gymnastics, who are all based here in Indianapolis.
Okay. Now, you're a marketing coordinator with USA Track and Field, and so as a marketing coordinator, what would you spend your time doing?
Making sure our sponsors are happy. That's the main focus. What we do every day is ensure that we are delivering on the terms that we've agreed to in the contract. For instance, our contracts with Nike and Visa, 24-Hour Fitness, Hershey's, Gill Athletics are all different, and they're all specific to the individual sponsors and what their needs are. With our Outdoor Track and Field Championships coming up this June in Des Moines, Iowa, I'm working closely with our events and broadcast team to make sure that those sponsors get their 30-second spot commercials, that they get their track signage around the oval so that it can be picked up within the broadcast, that they get their ads in the programs, that they get their PA announcements during the events. So I'm working closely with many of our other departments to ensure that all of these actions are going to happen when they're supposed to happen at every event.
And this sort of suggests to us just how important sponsors are to not only USA Track and Field, but I presume all sports federations.
Absolutely. We love our sponsors. Let me say that again. We love our sponsors. We work hand in hand with them. I speak with them on a regular basis. I have weekly conference calls, and I talk with them daily over email. I also speak with their marketing agencies that work for them, their media agencies that work with them. So it's very important for me as a marketing coordinator to keep tabs on where every project lies and to make sure I'm keeping up on relationships with each one of those people. So when you first start, it's a little bit overwhelming because there's a lot of people involved, a lot of names to learn, but then you develop very close relationships with each one of your sponsors, and you begin to learn what each one wants from USA Track and Field.
And I guess this really suggests that because your members are really individuals, the way you can pay for all of these events is really not from the participants, but it's really from the sponsors. And without the sponsors, the events wouldn't take place.
Exactly. We depend heavily on sponsorship fees, specifically Nike. We work closely with Nike in our merchandise area. They provide all of our apparel. They outfit all of our U.S. teams, including our Olympic teams. So they give us all of this wonderful product, and we are certainly happy to receive it.
And your members are really individuals from teenagers on up. Tell us about a little bit about them.
Our members range from as young as 6-year-olds to 96-year-olds. We depend heavily on the teenagers, however, because our demographic looks to get kids involved in track and field, and it's required to have a USA Track and Field membership to participate in track and field sanctioned events. So therefore they are a huge part of our population. But we're also looking to expand more into long distance and road running type of population. Those runners who go out and run a couple times a week, or they run in the Susan G. Komen race because they want to support a cause, or they run just to stay fit. Those are the runners that don't necessarily know that they can be a part of USA Track and Field. So we're trying to reach out to them.
Average day for a McKenze Rogers, both here in Indianapolis and when you get to travel. Tell us a little bit about that.
An average day, not so much. In sports, it's pretty fast-paced, and like I said, every sponsor is different, and they have new and unique needs. But it's awesome that every day I don't know what's going to happen. We do a lot of brainstorming session, and in my position, I'm also within the communications department, so I get to write for our publications, I get to do interviews with athletes, and now we're really focused on a research-based priority. And in public relations, we learn research, planning, implementation, and evaluation. Right now, we're really looking into trying to get those long-distance roadrunner racers attracted to USA Track and Field. So we are conducting various surveys, various focus groups, online bulletin boards to survey these people's thoughts, attitudes, and minds and figure out what drives them to run and how can we give them benefits that will attract them to USA Track and Field.
And you come to this experience from having been a national level athlete yourself when you were in college. Tell us a little bit about that and how that led to your path in life.
Absolutely. I definitely say it was my golden years. I was a diver at I was a diver at Stanford University and loved every second of it. It was a great opportunity to be at a school that focused highly on academics and athletics. And I think that's also why I decided to continue to go in sports. I tried other areas, decided it wasn't for me, and then returned back to sports and found my love again and applied for a marketing internship with USA Gymnastics. And once that ended, they didn't have any opportunities available, but USA Track and Field did. So they sent me upstairs because we're in the same building, and I got a position there. And 4 years later, I'm still really enjoying it every day.
That's wonderful. Now, as you can probably imagine, there are a lot of young people out here today who would love to be doing what McKenze Rogers is doing today. What advice would you give them? What would you suggest to them in terms of being able to make themselves the most marketable, the most positionable they can be?
Internships and volunteering are very valuable. While you may not make a lot of money doing them, it shows that you are responsible, that you are driven, that you're motivated, that you're organized, and that you can come to work with a smile on your face every day and be happy. Lots of times my supervisor tells me, we work in sports, this is fun. So you remember that it's fun, you make it fun every day. And volunteering is very valuable as well. I know the Indiana Sports Corporation, which is based here, has a huge volunteer basis, so sign up on their email lists, get in their volunteer lists, and make sure that they reach out to you and you reach out to them when there's various events that happen, because as you know, Indianapolis loves its sports, and we have various events that come in, so there's tons of opportunities to get involved in those and give your time and meet people and network.
Well, McKenze, thank you for joining us. It's been fun talking with you today.
Thank you. I enjoyed it as well.
And my name is Bob Dittmer. We've been exploring amateur public relations and marketing at the Federation level with Explorations in Public Relations. Please stay tuned and come back to see more of these video presentations in the future.